Welcome to the deep dive.
Mm.
Today, we're slipping into something a little more, well, luxurious.
hmm
We've got this report, the Global Luxury Apparels Market Report 2025 from Cognitive Market Research.
Right.
And our mission, really, is to unpack the key trends, the insights driving this huge industry.
It's a fascinating area.
It is. Think of it as understanding, why we splurge on designer stuff and where those splurges are happening most.
Absolutely. And it's more than just expensive clothes, right? It reflects global economics, consumer desires, aspiration.
Yeah, it tells a story.
It really does. Understanding this market gives you a peek into where wealth is growing and maybe what people with that wealth actually value.
Okay, let's get into the numbers then. The scale here is pretty eye-opening.
It is significant.
For 2025, the report projects the global luxury apparel market at over 81 billion US dollars.
USD 81,251.5 million to be precise.
Wow. I mean, that's huge. Like the entire economy of Ecuador, roughly.
Yeah, it puts it in perspective.
Right.
And it's not standing still.
All right, that was my next question. It's growing.
Definitely growing. The forecast anticipates it hitting over 115 billion USD, 115,447.8 million by 2033.
Okay, so that's quite a jump over, what, 8 years?
It translates to a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR of about 4.50% between 2025 and 2033.
4.5%. So a nice steady climb.
A steady, consistent appetite for high-end clothing year after year.
So what's driving that? What's pushing this consistent growth? Is it just more rich people?
Well, partly maybe, but the report points to something more fundamental. A growing global desire for premium, high-quality clothing.
Premium meaning.
It's not just the price tag. It's often about the craftsmanship, the exclusivity, maybe the brand story, the status it confers.
A sense of lasting quality too, perhaps.
Exactly. And for many, it's a way to express their identity, their personal style.
Okay, let's break it down geographically. North America seems like a really big piece of the pie.
It is over 23% of the global revenue in 2025. We're talking nearly $18.7 billion.
USD, 18,687.85 million.
A huge chunk.
A very significant market. But the growth there isn't maybe as fast as the global average.
That's right. The anticipated CAGR for North America is a bit more moderate, around 3.2% annually.
And within that, the U.S. is the powerhouse.
Absolutely. The U.S. alone is projected at 14.7 billion USD, 13,744.71 million in 2025, with a 3.0% growth rate.
What's driving the U.S. market specifically?
Seems to be a long-standing, preference for designer brands, plus rising disposable income for a segment of the population.
Okay, and Canada and Mexico also contributing.
Definitely. Canada's projected market is about 2.2 billion USD, 2,242.54 million, with actually a slightly stronger growth rate, 4.0%.
Oh, interesting. Why higher in Canada?
The report suggests things like more luxury retail stores being built and maybe stronger e-commerce growth in that segment.
Gotcha. And Mexico?
In Mexico is estimated around $1.7 billion with a 3.7% annual growth rate, so solid growth there too.
All right, let's hop across the pond. Europe, still a major player, right?
Oh, for sure. Over 18% of the global market share. That's about $14.6 billion in 2025.
USD, 14,625.27 million.
Yeah.
But their growth rate seems, well, slower.
Yes, the overall European CAGR is projected at 2.1%. It's the most modest growth rate we've seen so far among the major regions.
Any standouts within Europe?
Yeah.
UK, Germany, France, Italy.
Yeah, let's look. The UK is expected to be around $2.5 billion. USD 2,457.05 million with a 2.9% growth. Benefiting, the report says, from a lot of high net worth individuals and rising incomes.
Okay, and Germany.
Germany's actually slightly larger in market size, nearly 2.9 billion, USD 2,895.80 million with a 2.3% growth rate, supported by strong online sales, it seems.
Their growth is a bit more subdued. France looking at about 1.3% growth, Italy around 1.5%. Still significant markets in absolute terms, of course. France around 1.3 billion, Italy 1.26 billion.
Okay. And Russia, Spain, others. Russia's market size is notable, actually around 2.3 billion, but with slower growth, 1.1%. Spain's around 1.2% growth. Then you have Sweden and Denmark showing slightly better growth, around 2.2 and 1.9% respectively.
Switzerland. Luxembourg.
Switzerland at 1.8%, Luxembourg a bit higher at 2.4% growth. And the rest of Europe, lumped together, is growing quite slowly, about 0.8%.
Interesting mix across Europe.
Yeah.
Now, Asia Pacific, APAC. This seems to be the headline region.
It absolutely is. The numbers are pretty staggering. They hold almost half the global market, around 48% share.
48%. What's the dollar value?
For 2025, it's projected at USD 39 billion, 39,000.72 million, and importantly, it's the fastest growing region overall.
That was the growth rate.
The average annual growth for APAC is projected at 5.8%. That's significantly higher than North America or Europe.
And China must be a huge part of that story.
Dominant. China's market is estimated at 16.4 billion USD, 16,380.30 million in 2025, with a strong 5.3% growth rate.
What's fueling China's luxury boom?
It's really powered by that rapidly expanding middle-class general economic growth, creating a huge pool of new consumers eager for luxury goods.
Makes sense. Now, I saw a number for India that really jumped out.
Ah, yes, India. It's got the highest growth rate mentioned among the major countries.
What is it?
A remarkable 7.7% CAGR. The market size projected for 2025 is around $3.9 billion.
7.7%. Wow. What's driving that explosive growth?
Similar factors to China, perhaps amplified. Increasing urbanization, a fast-growing middle class gaining purchasing power, and maybe, luxury goods being seen as a key symbol of upward mobility.
Really interesting dynamics there. What about other key APAC markets? Japan.
Korea.
Japan has a very large existing market, about $5.4 billion, still growing at a solid 4.3%. It's mature but expanding.
Okay.
South Korea is also significant, around $4.7 billion, growing at 4.9%. Australia is showing 5.1% growth on a $2 billion market.
Any others? Singapore? Taiwan. Yeah, Singapore stands out with strong growth, 6.1%, although on a smaller base, around 780 million. Taiwan's also growing well at 5.6% with a 1.5 billion market.
And Southeast Asia as a whole.
That's a key growth area, too, collectively projected at 6.6% growth on a $2.6 billion market. The rest of APAC also shows healthy growth, around 5.6%.
So APAC is clearly the engine room right now, but we shouldn't ignore the other regions. South America.
Right. South America holds just over 4% of the global market. That's about $3.1 billion in 2025. But the growth rate is strong, 5.2%.
Better than North America or Europe.
Yes. Brazil leads the pack there, around $1.3 billion and 5.8% growth, driven by, the report suggests, changing consumer aspirations and rising incomes.
Other South American countries.
Argentina actually shows very strong growth potential, 6.1%, on a smaller market size, about 519 million. Colombia, Peru, Chile are all showing solid growth, kind of in that 5 to 5.5% range. The rest of South America, around 4.3%.
Okay, what about the Middle East? Often associated with luxury spending.
Absolutely. Also around a 4% market share globally. Estimated size is $3.3 billion in 2025, with a 5.1% annual growth rate.
So strong growth there, too. Key markets.
Saudi Arabia is a major one, about $1.1 billion, growing at 5.4%. Qatar is growing at 4.6%. Turkey quite strongly at 5.7%. The UAE at 5.6%.
Yeah.
Egypt also showing decent growth at 4.9%. The rest of the region around 4.3%.
Definitely a strong appetite for luxury there. And finally, Africa.
Africa holds a smaller share, about 2.2% of the global market currently. That's roughly $2.6 billion in 2025.
And the growth.
Projected at 4.5% annually, so right around the global average. South Africa is the largest market, around $915 million with 5.4% growth. The report links this partly to the tourism sector.
Makes sense. Any other notable African markets?
Nigeria is mentioned, showing 4.7% growth. The rest, Africa, collectively is projected to grow at about 3.7%. So smaller base, but definitely potential there too.
Okay, that's a fantastic tour of the world's luxury hotspots. Now let's shift focus. What kinds of luxury apparel are people actually buying?
Good question. The report breaks it down by product type. For 2025, topwear, think shirts, blouses, high-end tees is expected to be the biggest category.
Okay, makes sense. Everyday luxury, maybe, or formal wear needs?
Right, but the fastest growing segment is actually coats and jackets.
Oh, interesting. Outerwear is a statement piece?
Exactly. It seems to reflect outerwear becoming more central to style, possibly influenced by that whole athleisure trend, blending athletic and leisure wear and, high visibility on social media. A great coat gets noticed.
Definitely. What about materials? What are these luxury items made of?
In terms of material type, cotton apparently holds the largest share right now, valued for comfort, versatility, even in high-end items.
Sure, but what's growing fastest?
Leather. The report sees leather as the fastest growing materials segment.
Why leather?
Probably a combination of factors. Its durability, that timeless classic appeal, and its strong association with, well, luxury and craftsmanship.
Right. A good leather jacket feels like an investment.
Hmm.
Now, who's buying? Men, women.
This is interesting. Currently, the report suggests men actually represent the largest consumer group for luxury apparel.
Really? That surprises me slightly.
Yeah, it indicates perhaps a growing trend of men using high-end clothing to express individuality, status.
Okay, but which segment is growing faster?
That would be the women's segment. It's experiencing more rapid growth.
And the drivers there?
Likely influenced heavily by social media, the visual nature of fashion online, and perhaps, as the report notes, a generally greater propensity among women to engage with and spend on luxury fashion.
Fascinating gender dynamics. And where are these sales happening? Online. In fancy boutiques.
Well, the traditional offline stores, the physical boutiques, still hold the largest share of the market.
Why is that, do you think?
Yeah.
In the age of online everything.
The report credits the excellent customer service, the personalized shopping experience, that feeling you get in a luxury store. It's often seen as part of the whole luxury package.
The experience itself is luxury.
Exactly. However, unsurprisingly, the online channel is growing much, much faster.
Driven by?
Convenience, mostly. And also the fact that luxury brands are getting much better at creating compelling digital presences, online stores, reaching customers globally.
Right. So physical stores dominate now, but online is catching up fast.
That seems to be the picture.
Okay, we've covered size, growth, regions, products, consumers, channels. What about the underlying forces? The report mentions key drivers and restraints, right?
Yes. The main drivers, as we've kind of touched upon, are that increasing global demand for premium, high-quality stuff,
Yep.
rising disposable income levels in many key markets,
Got it.
and also growth in tourism and travel. People often buy luxury goods when traveling.
Souvenirs, but make it fashion.
Sort of. On the flip side, the restraints are what you might expect. The existence of plenty of lower-cost clothing brands offering alternatives, which limits how much the luxury market can expand.
Fast fashion, mid-range brands.
Exactly. And also general economic insecurity. If people are worried about the economy, luxury items are often the first things they cut back on.
Makes sense. Those are the kind of headwinds you'd expect. What about emerging trends shaping the future?
Two really interesting ones highlighted. First, the increasing use of augmented reality, or AR.
AR. How does that fit with luxury clothes?
Imagine virtually trying on a designer jacket using your phone, seeing how it looks on you without leaving home, or using AR in store for enhanced experiences. It could really change online and even physical retail.
That's pretty cool. And the second trend?
A big one. The increasing customer desire for sustainable clothing items.
Sustainability. Even in luxury.
Especially in luxury, perhaps. Consumers are increasingly expecting it. The report mentions Gucci's Off the Grid collection from 2020 using recycled materials.
I remember that.
And Burberry planning rental and resale services back in late 2021. It shows a shift towards thinking about circularity, responsibility.
That's really positive to see. It's not just about consumption anymore.
Right. Values becoming more complex.
Okay, finally, who are the big fish in this very expensive pond? The competitive landscape.
It's highly competitive, as you'd imagine. You've got the huge established global players and some strong regional ones, too.
Give me some names.
Well, the report lists the icons. Gucci, Prada, Dior, Ralph Lauren, Armani, Chanel, Burberry, LVMH, which owns a whole stable of brands like Louis Vuitton, Fendi.
Right, the conglomerate.
Exactly. Then Dolce & Gabbana, Valentino. These companies dominate.
What makes them so dominant?
It's their extensive product ranges, powerful brand heritage, huge global distribution networks, and a constant focus on innovation in design, marketing, everything to stay desirable.
They have to keep reinventing themselves while staying true to their brand.
It's a tricky balancing act.
So let's try and wrap this up. If you had to summarize the key takeaways from this deep dive into the 2025 luxury apparel market, what would they be?
Okay, I'd say 1, continued overall growth is expected. 2, Asia-Pacific, particularly China and India, is the major growth engine. 3, rising incomes and the desire for premium goods are key drivers.
Okay.
But 4, economic uncertainty and competition from lower-cost brands are definite challenges. And 5, crucially, sustainability is moving from the fringe to become a really significant factor influencing consumer choice and brand strategy.
That sustainability piece feels really important going forward.
I think so, too.
Fascinating stuff. Considering all these trends, the geographic shifts, the online growth, the sustainability focus, it really makes you wonder, how will the very idea of luxury in clothing evolve?
Mm-hmm.
Will it just be about the label and the price? Or will these broader values like environmental responsibility, maybe even accessibility through things like rental,
Mm.
will those become part of what makes something truly feel luxurious in the future?
That's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? How does luxury balance exclusivity with these evolving consumer values?
Definitely something for all of us to think about. Thanks for taking this very stylish deep dive with me today.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Always interesting to track this market.